is Monday, December 30th, 2019. I'm Yael Avi, and these are the Cryptosphere's top stories for today. As we wrap up 2019, the Thai CEO Josh Frank breaks down Twitter sentiment data for 2020. Virgil Griffith, arrested for teaching blockchain to North Koreans, is denied bail because of text messages. And later, the legal saga of self-proclaimed Satoshi Nakamoto, Wright, continues. Welcome. Will 2020 be the year that institutional investors start buying Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related assets in a serious way? In a special interview to BLOCKTV, the Thai CEO Josh Frank, the man with his finger on the pulse of crypto Twitter, sounded carefully optimistic. Here is what he had to say.
Right. So I think as it relates to retail investors within the digital asset space, what we're seeing more broadly is, we saw this massive run up, for example, on conversations on Bitcoin. They're net down on the year. So despite Bitcoin doubling, the number of Twitter users discussing Bitcoin and the number of tweets on Bitcoin are down, right? So there's nothing that seems to be bucking, and reversing that trend. There's nothing to suggest that, retail investors are going to allocate. But as it relates to Bitcoin specifically, I think we're going to see more institutional involvement, and that's from speaking with institutions as well, and from the creation of things like Fidelity Digital Assets and backed and different gateways and on-ramps and ways to custody assets. GBTC is now filed to basically reduce the lockup period for their token holders. There are some interesting things that are happening.
Now, Facebook's Libra project has hit a major regulatory speed bump in the form of a stark statement by Switzerland's president. Can the tech giant still move ahead with its potentially revolutionary enterprise? Asher Westrup-Evans is here in studio with more on that. Asher, what are the Swiss saying?
Okay, so we heard from Swiss President and Finance Minister Julie Maurer, who said, and now quote, "I don't think Libra has a chance in its current form because central banks will not accept the basket of currencies underpinning it. The project in this form has thus failed." Those are pretty strong words. No wiggle room really there. Really, the Swiss are saying that it is not going to move ahead in its current form. That idea of the basket of reserve currencies that was the sort of undergirding of what Libra was in its original form is, at least in their mind, dead. And that's a pretty important mind, given that that's where Libra was choosing to host the headquarter, the Libra project, and be the sort of regulatory framework under which they were going to reside. Where to from here, Yael, remains to be seen.
So what can Libra do at this stage?
So, there are a few options that have been floated already in the past. David Marcus, the head of the Libra project, has come out in the past suggesting they could underpin a single stablecoin currency, backed by the US dollar, that might be able to work more in conjunction with the ideas of central banks. There are a few possibilities. Some would say that this is the death of Libra. Others say it'll be a chance to change. And actually, speaking on our very own Blockchain on Booze panel, we heard interesting views from panel guests talking about what they thought ahead of this new year, looking forward to 2020, hence the decor, what they thought might happen with Libra.
Let's have a listen.
Regulators are afraid of the implications, and especially of losing control. And they have a very negative they have some very negative statements about it. Take the G7, for example, the EU Council recently. What's happening in the US? There's nothing substantial from the crypto perspective, but rather everything is about they're losing control. They don't know what to do. Let's delay this. Let's wait for the appropriate regulation to come.
Thank you, Asher Westrup-Evans, for this report. Now, Virgil Griffith, the Ethereum developer who was arrested for teaching blockchain in North Korea in violation of U.S. sanctions, was denied bail this weekend, with the U.S. Attorney General in charge of the case presenting new evidence of nefarious intent. Now, reporter Yona Hochhauser has the details. Yona joins us now. Yona, what is that new evidence the prosecution has against Griffith?
Thank you, Yael. Well, it's actually a couple of things. One, the prosecution presented certain text messages that Virgil sent to his parents when this whole thing happened, saying that he was going to North Korea to set up a money laundering company. That was one knock against him. Also, prosecutors were very worried about the fact that within the pre-trial filings, Virgil neglected to write that he owns property in Puerto Rico. Prosecutors jumped on this as one big reason why they should deny him bail.
Thank you for that one. But before we continue, let us remind everybody who Virgil Griffith is and why exactly he was arrested.
On November 28th, Ethereum Foundation developer Virgil Griffith was arrested after landing at LAX returning from a trip to North Korea that triggered immense controversy both in the cryptosphere and in the mainstream. According to a Reuters report, a close friend to Griffith stated that he's been considering getting Ether mining equipment into North Korea for at least a year. The purpose of this trip, however, was purely to present basic information, says Fabio Pietrosanti, a fellow tech developer who also attended the North Korean tech conference. Griffith is a 36-year-old Ethereum developer from Alabama who holds a PhD from the California Institute of Technology and is a visiting researcher at the Santa Fe Institute. He was indicted by the US government in response to a presentation that he made during a personal trip to North Korea, during which, according to the government, he assisted the DRPK by educating them on methods to use blockchain technology in order to evade sanctions put in place by the US. Refuting these claims, Ethereum co-founder and self-proclaimed friend of Griffith, Vitalik Buterin, tweeted in his support, claiming that he did nothing illegal, and further stating that he hopes the US shows strength rather than weakness, and focuses on genuine and harmful corruption that it and all countries struggle with, rather than going after programmers delivering speeches parroting public information. Since the time of his arrest, a petition to release Virgil from custody has been published and has so far been signed by over 150 people, evidently including Buterin. Griffith has since been released on bail and is awaiting a court date. Brian Klein, his attorney, tweeted that Virgil looks forward to his day in court when the full story can come out. With the US taking such cautious measures regarding blockchain-related activity, other developers hoping to make a similar trip may want to think twice before buying their ticket.
Just a correction, Virgil was never really released on bail. Somebody offered, to post it in the number, but he has been in jail since being arrested on Thanksgiving. But Yona Hochhaus is still with us. What is then the next step for this, big saga, so to speak?
Exactly right, Yael. He was actually denied bail with this last hearing, and what's next is he has the opportunity to actually, go and try to appeal that decision in the next court after the New Year's.
Okay, Yona Hochhauser, thank you for that update. Needless to say, we'll be following it. Now, the cryptosphere was dominated this Christmas by panic over YouTube's supposed crackdown on cryptocurrency content. But was it all just a mistake? Our reporter Zaki Hennessy is here with the latest. And Zaki, firstly, when it comes to YouTube, they have actually responded as of late, right?
That's right. So, a lot of people have been reaching out to the YouTube team, Twitter account, and saying, hey, my videos got taken down, please fix this, this is a big problem. Now, the YouTube team actually did respond to quite a few of these saying, hey, sorry, this was our mistake, this was an error that we made during review. You should be reinstated, your strike's resolved, et cetera, et cetera. We're doing our best. Please give us your patience. Now, so this is happening in the midst of Christmas break.
Right.
So it's nice that they're out here at all. Not all of these videos
should be considered.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Not all the videos have been reinstated, but it's a manual review process. They have to go. They have to backtrack. They have to look at every single link. And this is probably not the only sphere on YouTube that has been affected. So even though it may seem like they're ignoring crypto, there are potentially hundreds of channels that got false flagged in this instance, and they have to go back retroactively now and reinstate all of those.
That said, when it comes to the voices within the sphere, there are those who are saying, no, this is the biggest snafu. We need to find a different venue. We need to find an alternative.
That's right. So many people are saying that even though the videos may be reinstated, our trust will not be reinstated. And they are throwing around a lot of alternate suggestions. You got like BitTorrent. There are decentralized video platforming services like LBRY Library that are options. And other people are suggesting Vimeo, which is not necessarily... Listen, if you put all of your crypto YouTube users on Vimeo, let's just take a look at the traffic for a second. This is according to SimilarWeb. Now, as you can see here on the left of the engagement side, there are 86.1 million monthly visits to Vimeo compared to the 28, I think, billion monthly visits on YouTube. So let me just say, if you're moving crypto YouTube over to crypto Vimeo, crypto's gonna die real quick.
It's kind of a sure death in
That's
that
right.
respect.
And
compared
compared to other platforms, Library is also not doing well. It's in like 100K monthly visits.
Right.
So,
Zaki Hennessy, thank you for this update as we now move along. Now, the ongoing legal dispute between the self-proclaimed creator of crypto, Craig Wright, and the estate of his former business partner, Dave Kleiman, is far from over, of course. And now Dr. Wright claims he cannot access his money. And with more on this, I'm joined in studio by none other than BLOCKTV's Ron Spitzer. Oh, boo-hoo.
Absolutely.
Yes, please do update.
Right. So again, initially that was $5 billion back when that whole debacle started. That is now $3 billion based on the movement of Bitcoin in general. However, what Wright was saying is that he has no access to his keys. The thing is that this was something we could have predicted. This is exactly what he did. He said this during the hearing, but the fact that he's actually, after losing, still moving on with claiming, listen, I can't access this cash, I can't access this money, I don't know how you want me to pay you. It's kind of essentially the game he's playing.
Right.
Ultimately, is interesting. He will again likely be told by the court, listen, dude, you gotta pay. Let's see how far he takes this game.
No, to that I have to say that's quite commendable. Let's see how long he can stretch it
Yes,
on.
absolutely commendable.
Ron Spitzer, thank you so much. As a woman, I'm asking you to stay in the studio because it's time for Troll of the Day. And today, as we count down to a new decade with the Sphere's favorite presidential candidate, John McAfee, who really took it one step further, probably too far, I'm going to have to ask the women in the studio, that would be you, Ron, to just cover your eyes. Mm-hmm. Cover your eyes. Thank you. This is what Mr. McAfee has in store for all you men. Let's have a look.
John McAfee, and I'm really happy to be able to talk to fellow adult males without the presence of women and children. Thank God, first time in decades. Now, what I'd like to talk about today is butts. Why? Oh, very important to some of us, man. I mean, we're not all breast men, and we're not all leg men. Some of us are butt men. I mean, I became a butt man at the age of 7 when my babysitter bent over in front of me to pick up a pair of shoes. I had a fucking epiphany. Yeah, so I've been a butt man ever since, and it makes sense. I mean, it's right there.
That would be John McAfee on something. And that was us around the block for today. Thank you for watching. For more blockchain cryptocurrency news, visit us at www.blocktv.com and have a great day.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.